Hey everybody. I just wrote a Facebook post in my group and it got me thinking about how I'm using this space. Gone to that traditional thing of being slightly formulaic. I'll upload this, I'll do a meditation, I'll do this, I'll do this. And actually, what I really want this space to be is a space for me to share what I'm researching, what I'm learning, and share it with you because you guys are committing to supporting me. And what I wrote in this post was about creating a fairer energy exchange when it comes to content creation. And I believe in sharing our best stuff, but when we're just sharing our best stuff through social media, it doesn't feel fair. It's just sharing, or not just sharing in for marketing purposes, but there is an element of that, right? So everything feels really unbalanced within that model for me, and I know it does with a lot of the people that are working with me and that I'm coaching and helping and supporting in their businesses. So I thought I'd just start to get a little bit more real on a monthly. I know I've done it with some of the audios, but I felt like switching the video on today. It's a rainy day where I am. The rain's just come, which is much needed. So I'm indoors and I have been working on a document for one of my bigger clients this week. Actually, I've been working on the research for a couple of months, but I've actually been pulling it together in document form for them this last week. And it's been an evolving piece of work, and I've been off learning and trying to pull it together and then explain it where digital language and marketing isn't their first language, because their first language is unicorns and angels and fifth dimensional beings, you know. So it's interesting work for me, and it really helps me shape what I'm writing and what I want to write and how I want to share. So I'm going to share with you guys more of the work that I'm actually working on more in real time in this space. So I wanted to tell you that. And I wanted just to share a little bit of actually what it is that I have been working on. So what the task given to me has been, how do I increase my reach and create a bigger platform? How do I do that without having to create lots of work? How do I get my message out into the world more? How do I help people at this point in time on this planet with the information that I have? And how do I create greater revenues with that to be able to support them as a being that needs to pay for stuff in the world, and also, you know, that money gets passed along to me, it gets passed to other members of the team who are working on trying to create a greater reach, trying to spread a wider message. So when we're thinking about, you know, paying for stuff with people, it's part of an ecosystem. And I think about that a lot actually when I'm traveling, because when you're in places like Southeast Asia, you do see the poverty divide more clearly than you do when you're back in the Western world in a lot of ways. And I see it as being an ecosystem. When I'm here and I'm spending money, I'm really grateful for spending that money, because I know it's helping a family and it's helping this and it's helping the people that are all working together. And that is the same everywhere, really. So I want to help people with all of these things. I want to help them make more money. I want them to help get a greater reach, and I want them to expand their message. Pretty much anyone who's working with me, those are three of the big things and intentions that we're working towards. And those of you that know my work know that I share a lot about intention setting and how important that is. So what I'm looking at when it comes to social media is that we have reached a point. Facebook, Instagram, all of these have exploded to such an extent, right? And we adopted them and we took them on, and we fully entrenched. We're addicted. I'm addicted. Hands up, like I am. We all are, to our devices. So we're all part of this thing. And we've come to the point now where it's about making choices about where else we go. That often is the mailing list for a lot of people. That's your own website. It's creating other spaces just outside of Facebook Inc. And I'm going to use an analogy that I used in that Facebook post, and actually something I'm writing a lot about at the moment, is this idea that Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube and the other big platforms, Twitter, they are essentially the town square, and that's a word that Zuckerberg used for them in an article that he posted on the 7th of March, my birthday. And he then referred to the future of social media being about the living room, and how even though Facebook has been built to be the town square, it's now looking at ways that it can develop living room spaces for people on social media to come together and talk. He talks a lot about communities. He talks a lot about groups, not so much in this article, but that's very much what he talks about when it comes to Facebook and what they're trying to achieve. Sadly, what has happened for me in the past year is that as much as I wanted to believe them, I actually now believe it's all about profit. And that's using buzzwords like creating community, creating conversation, connecting people, is unfortunately sullied by the addictive design that they've used to get us into those places. And that actually he sees that that's human nature, and he's using human nature to help Facebook make more money, because it's not been done in an ethical way, in my opinion. But we are what we are as human beings, and unfortunately it's not that hard to get us addicted. And it's particularly this digital dopamine that I'm talking about. So this living room space is something else, but it's the living room space where we create our revenue that supports us and what we're doing in the world. It's within these community spaces. That interview that I posted with Benji from Disciple app, if you guys haven't listened to that, do this all segues into this, because communities, we need to be collected around a cause where it's about talking to each other, not just looking to the leader or the founder or the person delivering the main, all the content. And I think you have to really distinguish between what kind of living room you want to have, what kind of community you want to have, what the word community means to you. Like I say, community is the buzzword at the moment, and I have a lot of inquiries coming to me like, help me build a community. And so I'm really trying to dig into what community means. Like, look at me, I've been trying to create a community. There's 5 of us at the moment, and Patreon doesn't really give us the tools to talk to each other. It gives you the tools to talk to me, but it's not really, it's about delivering content. It's not so much about creating community. Now this Disciple app sounds like it's more about creating community, as does the Mighty Networks apps that I've also had. Well, that's actually, that's web-based, that's not app-based. I also think that things being app-based, because of our addictions, because of the way that we use our phones, I don't want to go to a web-based site and have to log in on my Safari browser on my mobile, because that just feels a little bit too long-winded, right, to get into someone's living room. And I'm a little bit, sad with myself that I can't, that much effort. It requires that much effort. But if it does, I am slightly lost to you. I spent quite a lot of money actually on a 5-month training course, and I didn't do the content every month because I had to log into a backend on a WordPress site, and it was not easy for me on my mobile phone. So I actually ended up resenting that training a little bit, and because I spent the money on it and didn't do it because it wasn't easy for me to do. Now, part of that is my bad, but we also need to be looking at what is easy for people, and app-based things are, which is why I like Patreon, because there's the app, it sends you an email and then you can tap the email and it takes you into the app. So there's no logging in that has to happen. It's another reason I'm interested in Disciple. And Disciple at the moment costs £450 a month to use, which tells me it's good tech. And Peta, Jean, the lady who wrote Earth is Hiring, she's using it for her community. And there's an aspect that you can have a membership running in there, or you can sell courses and content within it as specific bits of content. And that people are, doubling, tripling, quadrupling the money that they're making from having that space there. But they've probably got a strong mailing list previous to that, or they've had a book, which is a platform that's created a big platform. So there needs to be a big audience and a big platform, really. I think before really going into these spaces. And I'm going to get Lisa Lister on a chat with me at some point over this next month or so to talk about Patreon specifically as an option for the living room. She's very much pulled back from Instagram right now and has moved. So she's pulled out of the town square. She's fed up of shouting. I said that, she didn't say that. And she wanted to create a safer space and a space where she can share more and there be, some revenue against that. So she's been on the Patreon journey, I think, for 6, 8, 9, I don't know how long, a good 6 months to a year anyway, she's been doing Patreon now. So I've got all of this stuff to share with you, and I will share more. I'm not going to go on too long because I already feel like that's quite a lot for you guys to take in. I'm still sifting through it, understanding it, researching it quite in depth, and I know what it's doing. Like, it's making me go off in lots of tangents and different explorations and working out what's right for who and what's best, helping them decide what's best for them. And I think it's such an individual decision based on what your business is, where you're at in your business, who your people are, what they want, what they need, what you can do, what you can deliver. You see, there's just so many variables to this. And I'm on this journey, with you. So I will share more soon. I might share some writing on this. But I guess the inner unicorn question that I'm going to leave you with around this concept of the town square versus the living room is how do those two things feel for you? What does it feel like to be in the town square versus what does it feel like to be in a living room? And thinking of that as the digital town square and the digital living room. Start to just imagine what your digital living room looks like and feels like, where you want it to be. Do you want it to be part of an ecosystem? Do you want it to be membership? Do you want it to be pay-per-view? Do you want it to actually be a community? Do you want it to be app-based, web-based? Like, where do you want to build your living room? That's the question I'm going to leave you with. And you're not going to know the answer straight away, but it's just something to start exploring, because having a living room as well as the town square at this point where we're at in social media is important for us, I feel. And it's a tricky, sticky one, because it membership sites are old, right? They've been around for a while, but they're also new because we're so new in all of this, really. When we're talking old, we're talking about a few years and how things catch up in different parts of the industry. So it's new for a lot of us. And this technology that we're being offered is still new for a lot of us. So honor yourself in that and have fun exploring that around your business and what you want for your online life.